Welcome, live Facebookers. Hey, listen, after the seminar, the True Cellular Detox seminar that I did in Austin, Texas, we had droves of questions. We had a lot of questions on the testing. So I drove down here to Systemic Formulas. By the way, this is the biochemist who put many of these products together, actually. So if you have product questions right now, and by the way, you're going to want to share this because many of your friends that you shared the seminar with, they have these questions. We're going to answer them. So if I see your questions coming across, I'll take them right now because I've got the man himself, Dr. Shayne Morris, with me. So he's going to answer all your really hard product questions, and he'll also answer the questions that we got a lot of on the Meta-Oxy test. We use the Meta-Oxy, and in the, you didn't see the class, but I talked about the Meta-Oxy is obviously one of the tests in True Cellular Detox, as well as the visual contrast test. And we got many questions asking, well, how does it work? How does it show inflammation? Why is it so accurate? What other questions did we ask? Why can it be an indicator of toxicity? I mean, just kind of throwing out some questions, right? Starting with the accuracy and what the test does. So kind of just explain the test a little bit to the viewers. And if some questions come in on product questions, anything you have about the True Cellular Detox program, fire away, but this test is something that hundreds of doctors across the country are using. Talk about it.
So the Meta-Oxy test, and what it tests is what we call malondialdehyde. And malondialdehyde, it is an aldehyde, and the trick here is it's an in-office test. It's a quick screen. It's a great screen, but it's an indicator on whether or not you should move forward with testing, but at a minimum it tells you you need to address oxidative stress.
Right.
Now in this case it is strictly oxidative stress. You can imagine all the other stresses.
Of the cell membrane.
Of the cell membrane,
right,
yes.
Which is really important.
Malondialdehyde is a byproduct of oxidative damage to membranes. Now if you're having membrane damage, you're likely having DNA damage, protein damage, small molecule damage,
Stop right there because I actually showed him in the seminar how when the membrane oxidizes and inflames, that can change DNA for the negative, right? And when we fix that, and this is a big part of what True Cellular Detox does, then we are fixing a lot of things that you wouldn't think would be related. But this test shows that. It shows that inflammation or oxidation, really, of that membrane.
Yeah, because once that membrane gets oxidized, it produces malondialdehyde, which then your body secretes through, of course, the kidney, the bladders, now the urine. So we're testing the urine. One of the challenges you have is because it's what we call a colorimetric test, a test that changes color.
Real fast, I don't want to interrupt you, but he said our sound is low. So I pulled it. Sound was very low, harder to hear. So anyways, I'm making sure the sound is up all the way. Hopefully you can hear us. Let me know if that helps. Please let me know if that helps. I moved it closer to us as well.
So to take a step back, the malondialdehyde produced from oxidative stress to membranes then gets secreted, and we test for that on a color test. A color test meaning colorimetric, it turns color. One of the limitations there is that so many things in your body can affect color, just like so many things can affect stress. So when you have it, you know you're stressed. Where your happy point is, it takes time. It takes a number of tests in order to see where you're at when you start and where you're at when you know you've been doing the right things for a while.
Absolutely.
I've seen people take 12 months to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've seen people that are really sensitive that get better in 2 months.
Well, we know toxins will come in, attach to the membrane, and drive this oxidation, inflammation process. What about other stressors? That could be one of the reasons, too, that it could stay elevated for some people.
Absolutely.
What about emotional stress?
That's right, absolutely. I mean, I'm a good example. So I've been doing the test on myself for years, probably since we came out with it. And I can't get below a 2 or a 3. And the only conclusion I can come to is that my life is moderately stressful on a day-to-day basis. So I've never done
I can attest to that for him.
In Hawaii,
I can attest to that. Yeah, exactly.
And if I did, I'd come back to more than I left, and so it doesn't. So, but yeah, there are people that have done really well by tracking their history. We've also tried things like superdosing vitamin C or superdosing other antioxidants. And what we found is we didn't affect that test immediately, like overnight. Like if I took 20 grams of vitamin C today and took the test, I may affect it the next morning, but by the afternoon it's back to a color again.
Right, okay.
So you can temporarily change it as well.
That was one of the questions that we had. Can I do something to throw it off? You're saying,
you can.
absolutely.
So diet. If you get a really, really concentrated yellow urine, it changes the color. If you're on the threshold of malondialdehyde, I've seen it not work on people. And this is one of the most frustrating things for us and you, all of you, is sometimes you'll be taking it and then it'll go clear. And you know you're still not ready, but it's a clear test. The only thing I can figure out is that when you secrete malondialdehyde, there's a threshold. And if you're below that threshold, that color doesn't change.
Okay.
We've reformulated it twice because of this. And
Right.
the most recent formulation seems to be doing better. We're asking people to buy it as they need it, don't store it. We make it fresh weekly.
Well,
We make it every week.
these folks are going to be, they're getting the fresh batches because they're getting
Yes.
it right from their doctors, which is good. So
and we're
that's,
making it weekly, so we're telling everybody, keep it fresh,
Yeah.
and it works much
Yeah,
better.
that's awesome.
It throws you some wrinkles sometimes. Sometimes you'll go a whole month taking it, and then next month it changes color, and you're excited, and then it changes back. You'll see that until you actually start to change it
Consistently.
permanently.
And as detox occurs, that's going to happen. As stressors move out of your
Absolutely.
life, that's
Yeah.
going to happen. So what are some of that? So if you drank some wine the night before, is that going to throw it off?
Not likely.
Okay, because I thought, well,
You get
malondialdehyde, I know
aldehydes produced.
alcohol,
Yeah,
if you're
you
drinking
get
alcohol.
drunk,
Okay,
then
that's what
yes,
I'm saying. Yeah,
absolutely.
because we've had that happen. That's how I
Yeah.
knew it.
If you
So
have a
how much
hangover-
alcohol did you drink last night? So, okay, so some people are saying, all right, I can hear fine. Another one's saying you sounded far away. Don't forget this. My wife said, don't forget the supplement. That's my wife saying that. Okay, anyway. So, but the fact is that, yeah, we've seen someone drink too much alcohol.
Oh, absolutely.
What about exercise? Would it be wise to do right after exercise?
No, you need one of those things because we know that a vigorous exercise raises oxidative stress.
Good.
So you're going
Yeah,
to
exactly.
throw it off.
Right, you just
Now,
throw
if
it
you're
off.
exercising consistently, then you might not throw it off because you're going to be in an elevated oxidative stress situation.
Okay.
Those people that are endurance, constantly throwing themselves into that situation, they're going to be like that all the time. She mentioned supplements. We've done a lot of experiments with things like Rocks and Epic and Moors, and it turns out that there was a group of people, and they were down in California, and they all tested really well. But then at some point, they started testing color again. They were what we call reduced stress. They were eating so many antioxidants.
Right.
And drinking so many
Right,
antioxidants.
which is not good
Which is
necessarily,
not
yeah.
good.
Well,
that we couldn't get the color to change. When we added Moors to their situation, it changed.
But all of those are in True Cellular Detox program,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is, that's good. You don't
That's
have to
right.
think. That's a good thing about
Yeah.
the program. When would be a good time to do the test? I mean, can you do it any time during
early
the day?
morning urine is going to be
That's
the
what I
one
would
that stays
say.
consistent.
That's what I would say. Yeah,
over time.
absolutely. Well, we have a lot more people joining us one after another. So if you're just joining this, share it with your friends, especially the someone just called in, so sorry about that if you blipped out. Share it because they're going to have this question about the Meta-Oxy test. It's one of the tests that y'all got that we provide in the True Cellular Detox program. So morning would be a great time. Here's the little test vials that you get. We just happen to have a lot of them. And show that because that is
Here's the chart. When I said I was always at a 2 or 3, this is the chart. This is where you'd like to be, is down in this range. This is where you don't want to be, in this range. The lighter it is. And like I said, over time, I've seen a number of people bring it down.
Yeah.
Some more quickly than others, depending on your genetics, your stress, your job, your life, what you're supplementing and what you're eating and what you're doing with your exercise for sure.
All right, more people are still joining, so, share this, no doubt about it, because people are going to want to hear the information. But this is a test that we do, and it's part of the True Cellular Detox program, and no doubt, they say it's 50 times more accurate than a blood test for measuring that oxidation. So that's one of the reasons why we do it, no doubt about it. It brings a lot of value to the program and seeing yourself change. It brings value even to seeing if you're toxic, these stressors that need to be removed. So you'd mentioned if someone is, hey, I'm sick as heck, and yet mine's showing up as a 0. And we know that that can have, it has an effect.
Yeah.
There you go. So
He's mentioning
maybe
down here.
I'm sick and yet I'm down here. That could be low immunity. What else?
It could be. It could
Yeah,
be. It could be
terrible.
the way your immune system's behaving. Remember, when your immune system's elevated, it should be creating some oxidative stress.
That's right.
If your immune system isn't activated, you're not going to be creating some of that oxidative stress because that's how it gets rid of an infection or
Right.
an assault.
Exactly.
The other thing too is anytime you guys you've done this repetitively and something changes in a direction that you don't understand or doesn't seem consistent or congruent with what you're expecting, you can certainly contact us because they do have shelf lives. I want to mention that these products, if if we have to, we do replace these if they've either been subjected to too much heat, too much moisture, and so on. That's why we make them fresh, so that the doctors always have them on hand fresh.
Yeah, no doubt.
But if there is some anomaly, we do replace these for the doctors so that they can get rid of that anomaly. Otherwise, we don't want people making decisions on bad data. Right?
So the test is the Meta-Oxy test, part of the True Cellular Detox system, of way of assessing cellular health, cellular oxidation, inflammation, toxicity. And we are here with the biochemist himself to bring you that message, because we had many people asking questions about the testing. So if you didn't see the seminar, you can go back in this feed here and you'll see the seminar that I did in Austin, Texas about the True Cellular Detox program. There's some questions. Question is better than a CRP, C-reactive protein? I would say very different. Yeah. But what would you say?
There's a lot of blood tests that are going to give you different markers for different reasons. The reason we have this and the reason we're embracing this test is, one, it's in office, one, it can be done with patients or with people all the time, even on their own location, if you send them home with it, and it gives you some timeline, whereas a lot of blood tests are only done once every year or once every 6 months. It gives you a window, a small window, whereas this can give you a much more linear access to your data. Now, can it be used along with these things? Absolutely. It can be used along with other blood tests, along with CRP, along with some of the oxidative and immune markers. I like them all because I am a biochemist, so I like all the tests you can get. This just happens to be one that's in office, that is quick, convenient, and it should lead you to more testing if necessary. Yeah,
because you can't do it like, we do some of that blood work, but you can't do it as frequent as you'd want to see some of the changes, that you're doing. So this person said, hey, the sounds good from where they are. So thanks for that information. So, hey, any more questions before I retire the biochemist here? This is actually we're going to be doing a video for doctors around the country about, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 doctors. And we're going to be talking about True Cellular Detox program. It was many of these formulas, Shayne, we worked together on to develop True Cellular Detox. Many of these formulas were your, visionary of your life's work, mine as well. But the formulas in there, and this is what, I think really important, what they want to hear, is these formulas in there are cellular products have become your forte. Yeah. What makes some of these formulas different?
Yeah, the reason we've done that is because we've been able to tap into using modern technology into how and what the cell needs to efficiently run, which is well beyond what we used to think, right?
Yeah,
we used to think of
no doubt.
The cell as being some esoteric, or we don't understand it. We now understand what's going on inside the cell, so we've been developing products to address inside the cell, which by its very nature then makes the entire organism happier and healthier.
Right. In real detox, happens at the cell. If you want to get well, you got to fix the cell. That's where our heads came together some years ago. Yeah. True Cellular Detox, it's the real deal, man. It is. It's the real deal. Cellular dysfunction is why people don't feel well, why people can't lose weight, and it's a growing epidemic. We've got to sign off because we actually have to do this thing. So stay tuned tomorrow. I'm going to answer some more questions, but if you haven't seen the live stream of that seminar, go back in the feed and watch it, and share this and share that. We'll see you on the next video.